After the Second World War, in July 1945, the Allied troops occupied Germany. In 1949, the Federal Republic of Germany, the FRG, was founded in the West from the occupation zones of the USA, Great Britain and France, and the German Democratic Republic, the GDR, was founded in the East from the Soviet occupation zone. Berlin, the former capital, was also divided and the western half became an island in the middle of the GDR. Between 1961 and 1989, Berlin was divided by a wall. At the same time, the border fortifications between the two countries were constantly being expanded. My name is Johannes and I am 9 years old, just like my cousin Friedrich. We have always been very close, bosom buddies, nothing can separate us. My entire family comes from Helmstedt and lives here together in a big house. Friedrich's father, Uncle Franz, had just completed his apprenticeship. Now he plans to open a butcher shop in Ingersleben. That's where Friedrich's mother and her family come from. Ingersleben is not far from Helmstedt, but it's just across the border, in the GDR. This doesn't really matter though, it's easy to go back and forth between the two countries. I'm Sven and I'm in 10th grade with my best friend Joachim in Henningsdorf, a town in the GDR separated from West Berlin only by the Havel River. Henningsdorf is located in a so-called restricted area, a zone of about 5 kilometers along the border between East and West. Those who live here are more closely supervised than elsewhere and can only pass the checkpoints with a special identification card. A classmate has not been to school for 2 weeks. Now there's a rumor going around that she has crossed over to the west with her family. At our secret meeting place, an abandoned race hide in the forest, Joachim and I also talk about fleeing. It was really brave what she did. We should also get out of here. Just across the Havel. I asked Joachim how I could possibly go about this now, in the winter of all times. When the water freezes over, an icebreaker travels through the Havel every day. This is our chance, isn't it? And so we make a plan. We can tell the others about it, of course. So, a fortnight ago, Friedrich and his parents moved from Helmstedt to the east, to Ingersleben. For the first time, the three of them are visiting us in Helmstedt today, and we are all eating together, just like we used to. My grandpa asked,
"It's all well and good that you moved to the east, but was this the right decision, being over there among the communists? So many people want to get out of the east, and you want to live there, of all places?"
"Well, we're comfortable for the time being. We can always go back to the west. And we'll come and visit you, don't worry," answers Uncle Franz. Then he says to me, "And you, little one, you can always come and play and stay with us on weekends." 2 days ago we decided to flee. Now the time has come. I have a queasy feeling in my stomach. Is it really going to work out? It doesn't matter now. We just go for it. It's the middle of the night and extremely foggy. You can hardly see the hand in front of your face. Joachim and I quickly make our way to the big barbed wire fence that separates us from the water. As planned, Joachim has a pair of pliers on him, which he uses to cut through the fence. Without our clothes getting caught, we crawl through the small hole unnoticed. Everything goes perfectly. The icebreaker appears right in front of us, just as we had planned. Determined, the two of us jump into the water, without papers, only with the clothes we wear. When I come home from school one day, an eternity seems to pass before my grandpa opens the door for me. He lets out a sigh and grumbles,
"Them, over in the east, they're closing the border. Just like that, those insufferable communists."
This morning my grandfather cycled over to the border and saw the barrier with his own eyes. As he shares the details, it slowly becomes clear to me what this border means. My cousin Friedrich and I will be separated from now on. I won't be able to just drive over and see him anymore, and he can't either. Immediately after we slip into the water, I notice how my clothes are getting soaked. Everything becomes extremely heavy all of a sudden, but we fight our way through the icy water and swim after the icebreaker. Suddenly, the alarm sirens go off. Shots are fired. I quickly swim into the shadow of the icebreaker. My whole body is shaking. I notice how my muscles slowly give away and coldness spreads through me. I'm scared of getting caught. So many bullets. I don't know if my friend is still alive. Did they catch him? Suddenly everything lights up. Two searchlights are pointed at me. I'm shivering all over. Is it the end? I feel some kind of cage net land on me. I can't see anything at all when I'm being pulled out of the water by the border guards. I am trembling. My heart is racing. The border is closed. We have to apply for a visa to visit Friedrich and his parents. I look forward to spending time with my cousin every time. I'm 16 now and have a moped license for a year. In Ingersleben, I always borrow an old moped to go for a spin with Friedrich. Friedrich has had one for a long time, and we often drive through the town. Almost every time my uncle wants us to be careful, not to go to Aller Ingersleben, because that's where the restricted area is. On one of our outings, Friedrich dives behind and suddenly pulls over. I also stop. He shouts,
"Hey! This is a restricted area!"
I quickly turn around. Fortunately, the guards haven't yet noticed me. We quickly drive away. The only thing that always stands between us is the border, but as long as I can visit my family, it's all good. I am being interrogated by a Stasi staff member in an office. It takes hours. But during all this time, I only wonder, where's Joachim? Is he still alive? Has he been hit by the gunshots? These questions torment me every day for the next few years as I serve my sentence for the so-called unlawful border crossing. This time, my mother and I are going to Ingersleben for a special occasion, Friedrich's high school graduation. Friedrich and I both know that this will be the last occasion for us to meet for a long time. I am starting my military service next month. I've always wanted to join the Bundeswehr. Soldiers of the West German Armed Forces, however, are not granted visa for the GDR. After all, they might be spying for the so-called class enemy. Today, we try not to think about it. We just want to have fun. It is just another Sunday morning. On my way to church, I walk past the place where my escape failed 50 years ago. And as always, I think of my old friend Joachim. Again, I wonder what happened to him back then. Is he still alive? I am sitting in a pew, deep in thought, when the heavy church door opens. I turn around and see a man enter. He looks familiar, but no, that cannot be. Shortly before the lunch break, I am called into the lieutenant's office. There's a call for me. I pick up the phone and hear quiet sobbing.
Listen, son. How can I tell you? Friedrich, he was in a road accident last night. He didn't make it. I'm so incredibly sorry.
I drop into an armchair. Tears well up in my eyes. Never again. Never again. He's gone. I'll never see him again. I can say goodbye to my cousin, my best friend. I am not allowed to visit for the funeral. All that remains is the memory of our last meeting. We walk towards each other and look at each other. After a moment, I am quite sure it is Joachim. He still has those bright green eyes. We weep with happiness. Joachim tells me that he had managed to get to the other riverbank back then, to the west. But he couldn't come back. All those years he wondered what had happened to me. Since that day in spring 2018, we have been inseparable.